my name is Aaron. I do rants and reviews, and I have made a horrible mistake. So, I'll get to these products in a moment, but first I wanted to address the problem of brand loyalty. Now, you may recall that a few months ago I did a video, Apple versus Google, Android versus iOS. You can find it right there. And in that video, I was very much biased towards Android. But I've had a change of heart. Not in the way you might think. Now, one of the main problems with brand loyalty is that you stop looking at things objectively. Take this iPhone, for example. It's only 64 gigabytes, which was probably great for a phone 5 years ago. But most phones today come with at least 128. And so when you stop looking at things objectively, you might end up paying more for less product. And that's a problem. Because why would anyone want to pay a premium when they're getting less? It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, I could do another rant about how numbers aren't everything, but some things do matter. Like this MacBook has an internal storage of 512 gigabytes, which is decent, but for a premium laptop, you should get at least a terabyte. And that's a problem because these are supposedly premium products, but they come with less features. So what is it that you are paying for? Are you paying for the brand? Are you paying for the name recognition? Now, this is not a problem that's exclusive to electronics or phones. Brand loyalty exists in cars and in food, and everything tries to create loyalty. Every brand tries to create some sort of loyalty. Even clothing brands, they have some sort of marketing that makes it so that you buy their stuff. And that's perfectly fine because that's the way businesses work, right? Except that leads to another problem, which is that brand loyalty leads to a lack of competition. Now, allow me to explain. There could be products out there that are better than an iPhone in specs and features. But if nobody goes out there and buys them, that brand is going to fall into obscurity, like Kyocera. And that's problematic because the less competition in the market, the more stagnation and in more products that are going to get to market are going to end up being inferior because they don't have to compete. If companies know that most people will buy Apple, Google, or Samsung phones, then pretty much anyone else might as well not compete because it's not worth it for them to enter that market. And that's problematic for consumers because we get fewer options and worse products. It's great for companies, but bad for us. And so, again, this applies to every field. Why would I pay twice as much in the United States for a BMW or a Mercedes when I could buy a Honda or a Kia with similar features for half the price? Now, it's not always about the price, right? Some people like the convenience, the aesthetic of these products. And that's fine. But if that's the reason you like the products, then just admit it. If you like the iPhones because they're pretty much stupid-proof, that's fine. But just acknowledge the fact that you are buying it for essentially the UI, right? Because if you wanted more versatility, you could get an Android. The reason I like Android isn't because of Google, it's because it's open source. and you can download pretty much any app or create a custom ROM or interface. You can't do that on an iPhone. Now, going back to my previous video, Apple versus Google, Android versus iOS. Yes, I prefer Android, but I can recognize that other people might prefer things to work differently. However, for me, that markup just really isn't worth it. And so I wonder why people do this. Why do people spend more money for less? It just does not make sense to me. And again, it leads to those problems with less competition, less options, and you might miss out on features that you didn't know you have. For example, NFC. NFC is the tap to pay feature, which is ubiquitous now with iPhones and Androids for the most part. But that feature appeared in Androids way earlier than Apple products. Same with wireless charging. Wireless charging was in Android phones many years before Apple decided to introduce it. And so these features that Apple is claiming as new and innovative have really just been borrowed over from phones that are now almost 3, 4, 5 years old. And that seems silly. So features, options, brand, ultimately it comes down to consumer choice, right? You're buying the product that you feel will best fit your needs. But just be wary of what brand loyalty can do in the long run. It can disrupt the market and eliminate competition, which leads to worse products for you and for me. And it can make you get less features, but you're still paying more. So I think that people should maybe take a more objective look and consider why they are buying that product. And if we did that, then maybe we could get some more innovation in the tech front instead of a new iteration of iPhone and Pixel every year that has 2 more megapixels added or 5 more cameras, right? Anyway, thank you for listening. Now, I said I get to these, right? Well, spoiler alert, these are just for decoration. They're all empty, completely useless. There's nothing in these. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go hunt some moons in Mario Odyssey. Oh, this is a good one.